Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well today. Kind of a little update. Well, a non-update. Maybe a little awakening for all of us. Before we get into this, though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch store to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Those links are in the description below. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, and the links to which are also in the description as well. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's non-update bonus upload. Shall we? So, I'm sitting here, and I'm thinking about tomorrow's upload. I was looking at my merch store because I thought I figured it out. Thinking about going to the barn to share where the night I believe my cousins, my friend, and myself sealed our fate. And I got this really just anger in the pit of my stomach. And it was immediately, I knew where and why. And it was coming from my disdain of the lies the government is sharing with us through the media. Now, I love America. Don't get me wrong. America is the greatest country on earth. But the government that runs it is just so crooked and shady. And they have their little puppet, the media, which 80% of our news comes from big bank, big pharma, big oil, and the military machine, which is all in bed with our government. So, of course, it's going to be lies. Now, I was thinking about the beginning of, well, actually right around this time last year, and how I made the statement, we are in for a rough one. And I made that statement when I was discussing the Donald Allen case out of Jackson County, Florida. Very strange case. I'll share a little bit of it with you guys. I'm sure a few of you are not familiar with it, but I'll share a little bit briefly because I don't want to have this all about that one encounter or attack, excuse me. But prior to that, ironically enough, I was going to discuss the Christine Rollins case, which happened in Texas. She was a home health nurse, and she went to a residence that she had taken care of and was found outside of the residence in between her car and the resident's home, dead, tore up. When I say that, I mean it. And it's almost like Jimtown Road tore up, which is terrible. Now, the media said wild hog. Hogs did it. This lady's a nurse. She's got intelligence. I mean, we're not talking some half-drunk person stepping out of their car, going to their house. We're talking about a nurse who had taken care of these people, knew this address, was sober, was very clear and focused. And as she got out of her car and made her way to these people's porch, She was savagely attacked by hog. So this woman didn't hear this huge herd of hog running at her and just stood there and got attacked. No, I really didn't think that happened. I think a Dogman attacked her, and yet the media said it was a hog. I said, well, why didn't she just jump back in her car, jump on top of her car, run to the porch? Because she didn't have time, because it wasn't hog. And then, a year to the day later, Donald Allen in Jackson County was savagely attacked on his way to his home on a rural, very rural road. And they blamed it on feral dog. Or actually, they blamed it on wild dog. And, people have said wild dog exists in America, Jeff. No, they really don't. If you look it up, a wild dog, a wild African dog, that's what a wild dog is. It's a wild African dog. We have feral dog, or we have dogs that have been abandoned, or, but a wild dog is from Africa. And people have debated that with me for, a long time, but I'm not here to debate that either. Because apparently Google is wrong when you look it up, or DuckDuckGo is wrong when you look it up, and wild dog exists in America. Anyway, so this poor guy was on his way home. He had been dropped off, and of course the media made it a mystery. Why was he dropped off so far away from his home? It wasn't really that far, but it was far enough, and this and that. But he was found tore up. And I said, guys, it's going to be a strange, crazy, crazy year coming up. Now, prior to this, we had the little boy in Kentucky who was attacked in his backyard, Gov'T. And that was, I think, in February of 2020. So we had these just 3 really all within a year right there. Boom. You've got the nurse in Texas, Gov'T, Donald Allen, a couple more in between. And then this year hit. Of course, we cannot forget Brenda Hamilton. I mean, that is the lies of all lies right there. I mean, even her whole community knows that it was something other than what they're telling them. And I've heard through the grapevine, through people who live in that community, that they know a Dogman did it. I've heard it. People have reached out to me via email, via text, and said, Jeff, hey, I live in this area. I can't come on your show. I don't want to come on your show, but there's talk of it being a Dogman. And then shortly after, Donald Allen, roughly a week and a half later, Christopher Whiteley is savagely attacked. And this one was screwy because you've got 2 sets of government municipalities running the show, and they're not seeing eye to eye, or they didn't cross their T's and dot their I's together, and the media actually aired the fight. But and that could have been a play on its own. Christopher Whiteley being attacked, the sheriff saying, hey, mountain lion. The wildlife division saying, no, homicide, suicide, everything else had been ruled out. And a lot of very intelligent people stepped in and looked at that case. Anyway, there was one statement made that said, no, it was not a mountain lion. It was a dog, but the muzzle mark, the teeth marks, everything around this attack says it was a dog or canine, but whatever kind of dog or canine this was far too big to be a wolf, coyote, or just a pet. So right there's some yellow flags, red flags, whatever, not green, but saying, hey. But then I got thinking about it, and I was like, well, maybe the big spat and the mix-up and the BS between these two is actually purposely done. Maybe the government isn't as dumb as we think. Maybe they said, hey, we've had all of these attacks. We've blamed it on these animals. And a lot of people are kind of questioning us now. Why don't we just make some inner turmoil and kind of let the discrepancies and the fighting between the two parties that investigated the case take more coverage than the actual attack. And of course, they've got to put in the bad stuff about Christopher Whiteley. Who cares if, he was attacked? Let's talk about how he just got out of prison. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. So that one is just completely baffling. Then we had a whole slew of crazy bear attacks. Colorado, the woman in Colorado who had very similar attack bite marks around her neck chest region as Christopher Whiteley did. There was 2 out of Canada, almost days apart, a female and a male, both killed savagely. One was actually, and this was the craziest, man falls off of cliff to avoid attack by grizzly bear, or was pushed, or something like that. The media made it like he was pushed, but there had been a case of this bear that attacked, and I'm saying bear in quotations, but it didn't make sense. None of it. And then we have Jimtown Road. And this is the one that I started to really realize the lies. The lies and the complete disrespect for human life. Other countries in their media and their government do it as well, and I've shared that with you guys. But I wanted to share this because it really just irks me. And so you've got Tony Aarons and Amber Miller, who are attacked 2 months apart in the same location. Charles Owensby finds Tony Aarons, calls 911. 2 months later, Amber Miller's found by a Good Samaritan with 3 dogs licking her, and they blame the dogs for attacking her. Owensby is investigated. He is just trashed, beyond trashed. I believe there was an attempt on his life. And just they arrested him for a bag of pot. They had a warrant. They claimed that the media claimed that they had confiscated one of his dogs, yet he only had one, but then he had 3, and they were cane corsos. There was a mutt. The media actually said the dog had been euthanized, which it was not. Searched his ex-wife's house, which is 4 miles away. Dragged him through the mud. And then there was no linking him to these attacks. Nothing. Just the only thing linking him was the location and him being the first caller. And then Amber Miller's attacked. And these Tony Aarons and Amber Miller were just, it was like a gruesome horror movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but worse. And so just like Christopher Whiteley, Tony Aarons was dragged through the mud. They discussed drug use. Methamphetamines was in his system, so that surely was a contributing factor to his death, because the Dogman, or whatever, wanted his meth and figured he was out of it, so let's eat him and maybe we'll get high that way. Then Amber Miller, this poor girl, a mom, a young mom, lost her dad who was a deputy. Of course she's going to be, have a little bit of mental issues. They dragged her through the mud. CPS, marijuana. But why share that with us when it has nothing to do with the actual case? Because it's filler. Because they want to distract us. Just like with the war between the Lipan County or Hood County deputies, sheriff deputies, and the wildlife division. It's a distraction. So then we have Owensby getting dragged through the mud, getting put in jail for a bag of pot. Now, he's not a great guy. I'm not saying it. But does he really deserve to be just dragged through the mud when he obviously had no involvement? So then he's literally fighting for his freedom. Right then and there, he's pretty much there. He's the one that's going to take and face the charges on these two deaths. So, of course, he starts, talking outward about it. He calls and reports that there had been a shot fired at his trailer. The police come. They don't find a casing on the ground anywhere outside. But you don't really need to find a casing because it could have been shot with a revolver. It could have been shot inside someone's car. There was a white Intrepid, I believe, or Impala driving away, he reported. And then they said the bullet hole was old, yada, yada, yada. Now, I think he would know about a bullet hole being old in his home. It was, I believe, a clear attempt on his life. And they arrested him and said, well, you made this up, putting you in jail. And that's it. That's all the news we've heard about that case. The case is just done. Not done, but the media has shut up. Actually, there was one other thing. The media was asking, why was Amber Miller on Jimtown Road alone? Doesn't matter why she was. Doesn't matter. It's not the media's business. Who cares? She was attacked savagely. I forgot about the case that started it off as well between the Donald Allen and Lipan, Texas. Actually, after that, the girl who went missing in Mississippi. So then things kind of go quiet for a while. Not really, but we got a bunch of missing people going, left and right. I think there was like 6 within like a 2-week span of time. And then the Gabby Petito case came up and they just dragged that out. And I feel terrible for this poor girl, her family. The girl was not even a big YouTuber. Like, she had 1,000 subscribers, maybe 2. No one even knew who she was before this attack happened, and they made it out like she was a YouTuber. She was like, Mr. Beast or the Paul brothers or whatever. But she wasn't. She was an inspiring YouTuber. She wanted to do like van life. All the more power to her. I bet you she would have been great if she didn't hook up with the loser boyfriend she had. But they really just took and held on to that case. Well, all of these other cases kind of just went dead and were buried because they knew they knew Brian Landry was responsible for the death of Gabby Petito. They knew it. So let's talk about this. Let's forget about these unsolved cases. We know what did it. We know there was some sort of cryptid involvement, whether it be Dogman, Bigfoot, what have you. But let's not talk about them. Let's talk about this. She's a YouTuber. She's pretty. She's young. Well, they got what they really did a good job distracting people with it. And they really did. Actually, I think the girl probably got more subscribers just in that period of time being deceased by the media really just jerking us around than she did on her own prior, which is really, really tragic. I mean, it's disgusting. And then we have the Colorado case, like I said, which is just baffling. A woman, her dogs show up at her house, but she's chowed up. Just really strange. And then you have little Jim McNeilis from Creek County, Oklahoma. The pet dog, a Sheltie Corgi mix. 15 to 18 inches, 40 pounds max. Took down a 7-pound boy. And of course, the media used this boy's picture when he was like 4. For real. Because there's an article that actually shows him being 7. And if you look at these articles and you think about, as a parent, oh my God, he was so small. No, that wasn't him at that age. Because a 7-year-old is small, but they're not that small. And then you start reading the other articles and you see the progression of ages in the pictures. In that case, is just crazy. It was headlines for 3 days. 3 days. And then it's gone. Why? Because that's what they do. This poor boy's family is now moving out of the area. I believe the reason why is because the boy was missing. You guys know the case. The boy was missing. Didn't come home for dinner. Playing with the pet dog. A dog that a cat can beat up. And apparently this dog just savagely just went ham on him. And so they call 911. Now, as a parent, the first place I'd look is my backyard. Anywhere around my vicinity of my home. I would yell, this, and that. Look for my daughters. Cops, police come. Dad finds him, tore up. They blame it on the dog. Actually, at first they don't. It's a day later. 12 hours later, they blame the pet dog. But then now the family's moving. Family's moving out. What's funny is, and it's not funny as in ha-ha, it's funny as in messed up, is the neighbors could hear the mom scream, but didn't hear the little boy scream when this little douchey dog supposedly killed this boy. Now, if a miniature dog is attacking you, no matter how old you are, you're going to scream loud. A family was out having a party on their porch. The mom was heard, but the little boy wasn't. Why? Because it wasn't that dog. It was a Dogman. And a Dogman, they're stealth. They're quick. And they can make it very silent. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the non-updates that we're getting. Because we'll never get an update. We never will. We'll get more filler. And it's tragic. It's disgusting. Yet we are the ones that pay for the media. We are the ones that pay our government's representative salary with our taxes and this and that. But we are the ones that get lied to. We are the lambs for the wolves. And I'm sick of it. And you guys should be too. This can't happen anymore. I think it's time that we really hold these entities, the media, the government, accountable. Government's accountable for lying to us. The media is accountable for lying to us. They know there's stuff out there that hunt us. Why, we go halfway around the world to fight a war over, no one knows what it's over. There's people say, well, it was over this or over that, but we go halfway around the world and innocent young men and women, American young men and women, different country young men and women who fight alongside us for the better of the world, for the better of good. But yet we can't just stop what's going on in our own woods. We can't deploy a couple of specially trained units out in the national parks to stop it, to just put an end to it. And I'm not talking a stealth unit. I'm talking, no more going into the national park. Right now we're sending in troops to figure out what the heck is going on. I know I'd feel better. I'm thinking you guys would too, because I knew we'd at least see the hard-earned tax dollars going to that right place. The lies would not be covered up anymore. Therefore, we would be more trusting of our government. We would be more trusting of our media. I mean, there's a reason why everybody questions our government officials. It's first because they're a government official. We already know they're friggin' shady. And for all those car dealers out there, I apologize for the next thing, but we put politicians and car salesmen in the same category. Shady liars. Yet they're there. These politicians are there, lying to us through the media, their puppet, and we take it, lying down, sometimes standing up, sometimes without any assistance for us taking it. We just take it raw. I don't like that. That hurts. Anyway, these non-updates that they're giving us, the BS that they're giving us, I think maybe it's time we write a proposal or some sort of, I don't know, letter, and have a whole bunch of signatures saying, please. Claudia Ackley tried to sue the state of California. She didn't want money. She just wanted the acknowledgement that there was Sasquatch out in the forests of California. So what would be so wrong with us writing a letter, or myself writing a letter, or you guys helping me write this letter, or whoever, and having it be kind of like a petition, and having, I think it's 10,000 signatures we need to make it legit for our government to even look at it. I think I'm going to work on that. I've got my merch store almost up. I've got 12 items in review right now. So you know what? I work on my recordings every day. I'm going to work on a petition, and I'm going to share it with you guys. and I'm going to put a link to where it's going to be. It's not yet. Please don't ask when it's going to be up and when. I'll let you know. I promise. All right. I'm not going to leave you hanging like Victor did with the not giving us the title. I've asked him what the title was. I've not gotten a response. I don't know what, but I will get a response for you about the title. But I'm going to write this petition because I want answers. And you want the answers. And we deserve these answers. All right. That's it. I'm sorry for taking up 30 minutes of your time with BS, but I think it's time that we come together and as one big fist. Not just a finger, but a fist. And like I said, I'll work on the petition. I'll figure out a link to where you guys can sign it. And once we get 10,000 signatures, I'll send it. Because that's what needs to happen. All right. Be safe, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thank you for all your support. You know I appreciate it. May the Great Spirit watch over you. May the Great Spirit watch over all of us and guide us through our path of life. And with that, guys, farewell.